Hey everyone, John Jonas here from replacemyself.com and jonasblog.com, where you can get my outsourcing, where I'll teach you how to outsource to the Philippines. I'm here with David today. We're going to talk a little bit about how he's using some Filipinos to help him build a business. And he has some interesting experiences and some cool success with them that I want to talk with him about. So welcome, David, first of all.
Hello.
Thanks for being here. I appreciate it.
Glad to be here.
Good. So first of all, let's start with some basic questions. How many people do you have working for you?
Both Filipinos and non-Filipinos?
Sure.
I have about 5.
Okay. How many Filipinos?
1 right now.
Just 1 right now. Okay. I know you've been through a couple others. We talked about that. Can you talk about what's your business? First of all, what are you doing in your business?
Okay. Basically, I do internet marketing, from website development all the way to SEO to mobile marketing, text marketing, SEO. That covers it.
Okay. So marketing for other people. I know you have a very good big client where you guys are building like huge amounts of websites to market them, and it's a real estate kind of related thing, which is awesome, and I love what we talked about it for a second, and I love it. It's great. Can you talk about? Let's start from the beginning. Kind of, how did you find the people that you've used? What was like kind of the hiring process you went through?
Well, the first thing I did was buy your program.
Okay.
Okay, and in spite of the fact that you said that it wasn't all for me, that most of it wasn't for me, it was for the Filipino, I went through the information anyway because I wanted to know what they would be getting.
Okay.
And I went through it, and then I hopped on, what's the name of the website?
Online Jobs?
Yes. Online Jobs, went there, started looking through the resumes, used the search features, and started putting in the parameters of what I wanted to get a worker. And I got about 25. I marked them, set them aside, and then I sent emails to every one of them. And I got some responses back, not as many as I hoped, because I think I was too specific in what I wanted them to do. I gave them too much information, and I probably scared them off. That's what I think. I got, I think, 2 or 3 responses, and then I sent them another response, another set of questions. And about half of them, 1 or 2, sent me the answers back. And then I hired one. And she turned out to be really good. I used her until her aunt got sick. She had to go take care of her aunt. And she emailed me and said, I'm so sorry, but I have to go take care of my aunt. And I said, okay. I would hire her back if she got back in the area, wherever she was. So that ended that relationship with her. And then I tried again because I needed more help. Well, take it back. For about 2 or 3 weeks, I said, oh, I don't really need anybody. And then I realized that I was being really stupid because I could get so much more work done by having a Filipino work for me that it was just dumb not to do that. So I went on the site again, found some resumes. This time I only sent half as much details, and I got more responses back. This time I hired 2 people instead of 1, and I basically worked both of them for about 3 weeks, and one of them just didn't work out with one. There was a little bit of communication problem with him as far as following instructions. So I chose the one who was able to follow my instructions to the T, and he's been working with me ever since. And if I could clone him, I would. In fact, I need another Filipino right now.
Okay, so this is great. I want to talk about a couple things that the experiences that you've had. So the first one was their aunt got sick and they had to leave and disappeared, and if you could hire them back, you would.
Yes.
I've had that experience a couple times, and I know numerous other people who have, and frankly, I don't have an answer to it. I would love to say that this is them just getting embarrassed about things, or that this is like a random uncommon problem, but I don't think it is. And so I don't have an answer to it. I will tell you what I have tried, and what I've told other people to try, and I think a couple of the other people that I've told this to have had success with it. I haven't. I've tried to say to them, I'm willing to wait for you to come back. I want you to work for me. If you're stuck on something, if you have a problem, I want to know about it. You know, this goes back to the Filipinos feeling embarrassed thing again, where, you know, if you go and seek out their problem, then you may find it, and you may find that, you know, they didn't really have an aunt who was sick, and I don't know.
I tried that.
You tried it.
Yes, I tried the same thing.
Didn't work.
It didn't work.
Yeah.
I even, she went for like 3 days in a row. Said she was at the hospital and there was no way to communicate to me. Which, if she was really in the hospital, I can believe that. You say you've had the same experience, makes me wonder if there was something that she couldn't do. And I'm trying to think back, okay, what was it that I was asking her to do? Maybe she was having trouble with it. Are they that sensitive?
Sometimes I think they are. You know, yes. No, it could very well could be that they really had these problems, and you know, the conclusion is I don't have an answer to it. It's something I haven't figured out yet, and it's something I've seen it numerous times, and I don't have a solution to this problem of where they didn't just disappear; they told you they were leaving.
Yes.
And then no matter how much you beg, they won't come back, and I don't have an answer to it. So,
okay.
So the second thing that I wanted to talk about was you had someone who he had a hard time following instructions. You have someone else who's amazing, right?
Yes. Right. The Filipino I have right now, I give instructions. When I want something built, like if I want a website built, I use Evernote. And in Evernote, I have detailed instructions. 1, do this. 2, do this. 3, do this. And if I think they're going to have a problem understanding what I want them to do, I spell it out in detail. And sometimes take pictures of the screen. If there's a bunch of settings, I'll take the picture of the screen with all the settings and include that in the Evernote. And then I share the Evernote with them. You know what I mean by sharing the Evernote?
Yes.
Okay. The first guy that I just let go, he couldn't follow 1, 2, 3, 4. He just couldn't follow those instructions.
You know, I wonder if I've seen it before where, you know, Filipinos have a hard time following instructions. Often I've seen it where it wasn't the Filipinos' problem, it was the employer's problem. But given that you had hired 2 people, and I'm assuming you were given the same instructions to 2 different people, one of them did it, one of them didn't.
2 different websites, almost identical instructions.
Yeah, yeah. You know what? I would give you 2 cases of my experience what that could be. One could be that they just, you know, had overstated their resume, kind of didn't really tell the truth, and didn't know what they were doing, got in over their head. Mm-hmm. The other possibility is, and the only reason I give this as a possibility is because I've seen it a couple times, is that, and this is going to sound so terrible, but it's what I've seen.
Okay.
Was that potentially it was someone from India pretending to be a Filipino and putting their resume on onlinejobs.ph. And you know, I totally understand that sounds terrible, but I've seen it a couple times myself.
I did have one occurrence before I hired these 2 guys. There was one that I was going to hire, and I mean, I basically told him he was hired until he revealed to me that he was in Pakistan.
Pretending to be Filipino.
Yes.
All right, I gotta take a note here. I gotta write a note down.
And
so I gotta, as you can see here.
Okay.
I got my other computer over here that you can kind of see, and I'm writing notes.
Well, I asked, when he told me that, I was kind of stunned, and I asked several of my friends, "What would you do?" And everyone advised me, "Do not use him."
Good advice. Good advice.
Yeah. I mean, number one, he's already lied to me.
That's number one, exactly.
And in spite of the fact, I mean, he looked really good on paper. I mean, really good on paper. I wonder why.
So, I mean, that could be the case with this other person that you had hired, you know, and you know, again, I like I said before, I know that sounds really bad for me to say that. Obviously, you had the experience once too, so. Okay, so let's talk about the person that you did hire. What do they do for you? What kinds of things are do you have them doing?
Okay, basically, I had them basically build a website from scratch, from doing the cPanel work, installing WordPress, installing the plugins, installing the templates, putting the content in, doing all the settings, anything involved in creating a website. I was on vacation, and I got a call from a new client who wanted a new website. I said, okay. Hung up with him, got on my computer, laid out the plans in Evernote, sent an email saying, I'm sending you a brand new website to do, start working on it. By the time I got back from vacation, it was almost 100% done, which is wonderful because I'm on vacation, having a great time with my granddaughters. So it worked really good.
It's amazing.
Yes.
I know that in an email you sent me, you said to me that you had taken like a 3-week vacation, and all kinds of stuff had still gotten done while you were on vacation because they were doing the work for you. So
that's right.
It's amazing. So the people that you hired, what kinds of skills did they have? What were you looking for what kind of skills were you looking for when you hired them?
I wanted them to speak or at least be able to read and understand English. Number 2, I wanted them to have WordPress experience. And number 3, PHP. Some PHP experience because I have some plugins that we haven't gotten to yet, but I'm going to have them modify some plugins for me.
So you hired this is a programmer.
Yes.
Okay, cool. Very cool.
I call him a VA, a virtual assistant.
Yeah. But if he knows PHP, he's a programmer.
We'll see. I don't know yet.
Yeah, I mean, you might be right. You know, just so you know, in my experience in hiring programmers over the years, and I'm a programmer. I graduated from college in computer science, and I did programming for a number of years. That was before I realized I could hire Filipinos to do it for me. So, in my experience, the best way to know if someone is good in terms of their programming ability is how much experience do they have? How many years of experience do they have in doing it? And typically, the more experience, the better they're going to be. And not always, but that's my experience. Typically, that's how it's going to work. So, okay. So what have you done to keep her productive? What kinds of trainings have you given her? What have you done to make sure that she's working correctly for you?
Okay, the first one was she. This guy is a he.
Oh, this is a guy. Okay, sorry.
This is a guy. Okay.
No names.
No names.
Right.
First off, I gave him access to the information that I bought from you.
Okay.
And there were specific ones that I wanted him to go through, so I made those available to him through the internet, through your website. As far as training, there are some, when we install a new module, for example, many times there's a mini video or training to go with that. I make sure that he has this. I said, you need to go here, you need to listen to it, understand it. But to be honest, he catches on so quickly that I haven't had to do much training at all with him.
Okay.
The first lady, she required a little bit more training. I gave her a lot more of the modules to listen to go through than I did this last guy. But basically, I haven't done that much training.
You haven't needed to?
I didn't need to for him.
Okay, good to know. What have you learned from doing this? I know you're succeeding in this. We've talked about that. I know you have a really big client who has given you their whole marketing budget for the year, which is amazing. What have you learned in doing this that was maybe different than what I said when you heard me teach it? Well, what have you learned that you could teach someone else? I know it's totally a put you on the spot kind of a question.
Yeah. You have a system where you can keep track of the different projects. You put the project in, and between you and your other VA, you could talk and keep track of all what the project's going, how it's progressing, stuff like that. And I tried that, and it just wasn't my cup of tea. I had to do it my way.
Great.
All right. So at about that time that I was dissatisfied with your way of doing it, my son opened the door, told me about Evernote. And I started in Evernote, and I saw how easy it was for me to lay out a project, and then basically with the click of the button, I can share my project with my VA almost instantly. And you can, if I correct something on the screen and I hit sync, he has it instantly in black and white in front of him. He can copy, he can paste, he can do what he wants using Evernote. And I chose to do that way because to me, it was easier for me to work with. The other things I'm learning has to do a lot with me doing a project. If I sit down and do a project, I don't have to sit there and think, okay, step 1, I need to do this. Step 2, I need to do this. And what this has forced me to do is think through the whole project from beginning to end and put it on paper. And I've never done that before. I always sit down and started a website. I knew in my head kind of what I wanted to do. I knew what the client wanted me to do. But now I'm forced to, after I meet with the client, I come in here in my office and I sit down and I start typing step 1, step 2, step 3. It could be as many as 35 different steps from beginning to end. And in a sense, it's helped me realize that, okay, if I could put it down on paper like this, anybody could do this. I mean, I always thought I was the only person who could do a website like I wanted. And then I realized that if I could put it on paper the way I wanted, then someone else could reduplicate it for me. So it's like, oh my gosh, I got freedom to do other things I need to do, like marketing, like getting new clients. I will tell you this. Since I got my VA, my income has tripled.
Wow. Good for you, man.
I mean, it's fantastic. And if I had only had this, 5 years ago, 4 years ago, it would have been fantastic. Because I would have been much freer.
That's some really good experience that you just shared. I mean, because that's somewhat of my experience too. When I realized that I could lay something out for someone else to do, and they could do it, and they could do it as well as I could do it, and it got done, and it wasn't dependent on me.
Or better, because today, I was having a problem with the Contact Us page. Okay. The realtor had too many agents on the page, and you scroll down and down and down and down and down, and it was just too long. So I mentioned to him that I wanted to use the space on the right, make it 2 columns or 3 columns. and I laid it out how I thought it should be. Well, he didn't do it that way. Well, he did and he didn't. He sent me an email that says, I made it this way and I made it your way. See which one you like best.
It's amazing.
So I went there and looked and I thought, wow. I mean, he had on the page, and he had little tabs up here with each individual's agent's name on it. You click the agent's name and there's their contact information pops up like this. I mean, without scrolling, it came up. I'm like, wow, that's better than I even asked for. And he said, you can do it the way you did it. No, I like your way better.
So, I mean, you see this all the time. You see them go above and beyond what you asked because they're thrilled to make you happy. It's amazing. Okay, so to finish, what advice can you give someone else who's doing this to help them do it? What can you... I love what you have learned that you need to do it differently than how I do it, which is awesome. What advice can you give someone else who's doing this?
First of all, don't scare them away by giving them 2 pages of details of what they're going to be doing.
Right up front before you hire them.
Yeah, before I hired them, I told them, here's what we're going to be doing. And I spelled it out. I mean, I'm a very detailed person, and I spelled it out. And it had to be at least 2 pages long, typewritten.
So up front, with that, what you're doing is saying, if you come and work for me, you will fail. And from a Filipino's perspective, forget it. That's it.
But that's not the way I meant it.
Well, I know.
wanted them to know what I wanted.
I know. But from their perspective, what you're telling them is, I am super, super demanding, and unless you are perfect, forget it. And that's why you didn't get any responses back. Okay, so that's a great piece of advice.
Yeah. The second piece of advice is be prepared to think through a project and put it on paper. Be prepared to have a lot of extra time that you can spend doing other things that you really need to do. Because at first I thought, okay, what am I going to do with all this time now? And the third thing is have a project already ready for them, because they're going to finish it before you are ready for them to finish it. I mean, I think, okay, he can do a website a week, and he comes in on Wednesday, I'm almost finished with this one, what's next? And I'm like, okay. So I got to hurry up, and now I'm trying to stay at least 2 projects ahead, already ready to go. It's already in Evernote. All I have to do is go and click on it, turn it on, share it with him, and send him an email saying, new project in Evernote, go look at it. So you have to stay ahead of them. But I like that.
And I can tell that you have become the CEO of your business, where you're not the one doing the work. You're the one planning out the goals and the direction of the business and what it takes to get it there and the projects that you guys are going to do and why you're doing them. And then someone else is doing the work.
Now, I do have a fear. Want to know what that is?
Yeah.
I have a fear that he's going to email me today or tomorrow and say, my aunt's sick.
Yeah.
And I'm just stuck here saying, oh my gosh, I got all this work to do. And
my experience with that is, and this is, I think this is what happened to you. That happens in within the first month is when they have a relative that gets sick and they disappear. And we talked about at the beginning. I don't know how to solve that. But I don't think I've seen that happen where they disappear like that after the first month.
Question. When do you give them raises? Or do you give them raises?
That's a really good question. I don't have a set raise schedule. Typically, when I will give bonuses for people doing good work, I'll send them extra money without saying anything. And then just when I feel like you've been doing really good stuff for me for a while, it's been a year, you've been really great to me. I want to give you a raise, or maybe there might be one time last year I doubled one of my guys' salaries one day because he has just been amazing, and so I doubled his salary overnight, and so I don't really have a set schedule. I just do it according to kind of performance and how good they are and how valuable they are to me.
Do you do anything with the exchange rates? Do you watch the exchange rates?
I absolutely, and as I notice, I know that as we're doing this case study, I know that the exchange rate's down, and so as I see that, I will just send extra money each month as I watch that. And I don't calculate it out to be a number because I pay in U.S. dollars. I tell them I contract with most of my people in dollars, and so I'll just look at it and say, I know the exchange rate was 47, it's now 42. I'm going to send you some extra money. Or if it's 43 or 42 or 44, I don't pay that much attention.
Okay.
So
I was thinking I'll have him about 3 months next week. I was thinking about giving him a raise.
I mean, I don't know what you started him off at, but he sounds pretty dang good. And my experience is that if you overpay people, it builds extreme loyalty.
Okay.
So.
And overpaying a Filipino is what?
Well, I mean, assuming you're paying this guy $300 a month,
Paying $75 a week.
75 for $300 a month. Send him $400. I don't.
Okay. So that's low?
Is 300 low?
Yes.
No. But I'm just saying send him $400 and you're going to build a lot of loyalty.
Okay. All right.
Thank you very much, David. This has been really great. It's good to see your different perspective on things. It's good to see your success. It's good to see what you have him doing for you and how good he is at following your instructions. So, any last words before we finish?
Thank you for opening my eyes.
You're welcome.
A whole new world.
Cool. Very good. Okay.
All right.
We'll talk to you later. Thank you.
All right. Bye.